As his federal wire fraud trial nears, former NOPD Sergeant Todd Morrell accuses prosecutors of trying to hamper his potential defense. That's according to court documents. Morrell is facing 12 counts of wire fraud after Lee Zurich's attention to the details investigation found he spent time at home or doing other activities while claiming to work shifts for the NOPD or private security details. The prosecution filed a final pretrial motion asking U.S. District Court Judge Jay Zaney to rule out what it calls hearsay evidence. Now, on Tuesday, Morrell asked for the motion to be denied, saying prosecutors are trying to limit his potential testimony or force him to reveal possible defense strategy ahead of the trial. It is not clear when Judge Zaney will rule on the motion. Morrell's trial is set to begin December 9th.